Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us for tonight's post-match press conference. Yeah, this works? Tilt it? Okay, there
Let's
we go.
see if this works.
There it is. We sound good. With no further ado, let's start with an opening statement from head coach Josh Wolff.
Really pleased and proud of our performance tonight. It's a massive win for this organization. It doesn't get much better. Obviously, you're playing the best team in the league. You're on national TV. We know this league is gaining notoriety and certainly visibility all around the world. So to be able to present who we are as a club alongside LAFC and what the league is about is something to be proud of. But our performance in the first half was outstanding. The approach, the execution, the calmness, and then to follow up that in the start of the second half to immediately grab hold of the match again and put them to bed early. And there's a lot of unbelievably good performances tonight. I think Seba, Maxi, and Diego put in an extremely big effort. Our ability to transition and grab goals, our ability to obviously break them down in different phases of play was extremely good. Johnny and Nicky put in a big performance. They're dealing with the best wingers in the league every week, and couldn't be more happier for them today. But a very strong collective performance from everyone. And the downside of some of this is watching Sebastian get beat up out there. There's a reason he's up for being the MVP. He's the shown week in and week out what his quality is, what he means to this team, what he means to this league. But there's some bad hits again, and it's week in and week out. And we're hopeful that the league can continue to look at that. There is some level of protection. I get it. He's a good player, but man, he took some shots again. But our guys powered through. So really proud of the guys. Awesome performance. We got a somewhat of a quick turnaround next game against on Wednesday, but the guys should freshen up and we'll be back at it on Monday.
As long as you have the microphone, we can get going. No microphone in the house? Just raise your hand, please. Katie Goodman, go ahead. You're okay.
The mic is in your. Does that one work? It doesn't work. All right.
But my question is about your back line.
Yeah.
Tonight they were phenomenal. Can you speak to me in specifics about what they did so well to shut down both Villa and their tonight?
Yeah, it's a collective effort. I mean, we start with our shape and our organization and the compactness, but the back line has to move. They have to communicate, that not just laterally, but they got to move vertically as well to continue to condense space and now make it easier for our center midfielders to deal with pockets. But I thought we took away a lot of the spaces that they wanted to get access to. And then when they did play long or they played around us, the combativeness of Johnny and Nicky was quite strong. But Ruben and Julio have a great partnership. They've done extremely well this entire season. That relationship again was on display today. I thought Ruben was exceptionally good, and it helps. It goes a long way when we have leadership quality along the back line, as we do with those four players. But it starts with the guys up top, their pressure as well, and very much a collective effort as far as how you're going to shut down, certainly one of the best teams in this league.
Go ahead.
Did you feel Ilya Sanchez's lack of presence tonight? I mean, he wasn't on the field. Do you feel that was a contributing factor to how LAFC showed up tonight?
I don't know. That's a question for them. I think our guys can play who's in front of them. They played. I think Acosta's still a pretty good player. I think Cifuentes is still a good player. Blessing. This is a team that's rich with talent. There's no doubt about it. They've built and assembled an incredibly talented roster. Not just 11. They have two 11s basically. So regardless of who they put out there, they're an exceptionally strong team. And there's a lot of credit that goes to their staff and certainly John Thorrington for building that. But our guys were up for this. This was a playoff type atmosphere. The intensity and the energy in this stadium is amazing every single week. Our supporters push us and drive us, and I think we rewarded them again. There's been some high scoring games here. Glad this one again is a win, and we were able to put 4 on them.
Yeah, Josh, congrats on the win and the performance. I think you said pregame on the broadcast that you knew you could hurt LAFC.
Yeah.
What was it about watching, or what was it that you guys knew you could exploit, and how much of that was executed in what we saw?
I think there's a variety of ways that we got after them. And we're at home. We have a good intensity. We pressed them and turned them over a couple times in the second half. Set pieces continue to be a big part of our success. I think we're up to 19 now. We do it differently than maybe the league, but that's second phase. Obviously, the direct one from Diego is extremely good. But you got to hurt them. You got to make them run. And punishing the front three is not just about bypassing them. It's about moving them side to side, continuously asking questions of their back line in the middle three to tire them out. And then now how do you either quickly attack them or set up attack to again, make them work and suffer. It's a cumulative effect is what we talk about. It may not get us there and get us what we want in the first 30 minutes, but we know as the game goes on, that should favor us. But the guys did a great job in the second half coming out with the right intensity, maturity, professionalism, and, ended it pretty quickly.
And then you and Maxi shared a special moment there after his first goal. Can you just take us behind the emotion behind that moment? And it looked like you were maybe saying something to him that led him to.
Yeah, I think it was an emotional one for everyone. They recognize Maxi hasn't scored a lot of goals with his head, so we have a little tongue in cheek with him throughout the year and working with him to get some headers and getting him in front of goal. But he has such a big heart, and he works so hard for everyone, for himself, but for the entire team. And to get rewarded with a couple goals tonight was fantastic. The header is kind of why you get the reaction from the players and the coach, because we all understand his he's probably not the strongest header, but on that one it was fantastic. So really happy for him, pleased with his performance.
Coach, congratulations on the win. This club looked as physical as they've looked all season long. Yeah. Was that a result of what LAFC was bringing you, or was it just, again, you mentioned the playoff atmosphere, the high intensity of the game? Just talk for a second about the physicality that we saw tonight on the pitch. Yeah, I mean, there's a mentality you want to come into with a physicality, and you got to invest emotionally as well. And these guys could feel it in warm-up that this wasn't an ordinary game. They're the best team in the league for a reason. They have quality. They have power. They have speed. They have depth. So from the starting point in these types of games, you got to answer the physicality and the emotion of it, and you got to have some level of control as well. And then the footballing takes over. And I think they're a good team, as are we. And I think quickly we found ways that we were going to disrupt them when they had the ball. But when we had the ball, we knew we could hurt them. And I think that was a good example of what it looked like throughout the game. It was back and forth a little bit in the first half, but I liked our control and certainly our ability to build pressure, and that paid off quickly in the second half as well.
So, Coach, congrats. That was a good win. Game with a lot of controversial decisions. Do you think that affect you guys on the first half?
Which controversial decisions are you talking about?
There was a penalty in favor of y'all.
Okay.
I think so. Of what I saw.
We got to get you part of the refereeing crew then.
Well, that's why I'm asking you. Yeah. Do you think that that leads you to have a little bit of emotion with the guys in this corner, right? I
think that's the emotional side of the game. I think you do have to have a level of control, and it's tough on the refs. It's always difficult. It's a physical game. These are two teams that know how to compete. I'll have to look at the video. There's probably, we had some arguments certainly on the sideline, and we talked about it. So I think there's a couple that you're referencing that I'm aware of, but we'll look at it. They obviously take their time, looking at VAR and obviously walking through it, but you got to move on with it. There's no time to waste and getting upset about the situation. You got to move quickly and put it behind you and focus on the rest of the game.
What do you think it motivates y'all to convince your team this is how we're going to do it in the second half, and we're just going to do it as fast as we can? Yeah,
it's a continuation of what we built on in the first half. It's a continuation of what we've built on for 19 months. There's a lot of character. There's a lot of quality inside this group. And, it's important to start the game strong, but you got to finish strong as well. And when you have opportunities, opponents like this, when you got a chance to hit them, knock them in the mouth, you got to knock them in the mouth. And, I think it stunned them, and then we grabbed the third one really quickly. And the motivation inside our group is clear. We want to keep moving up the table and finish in first place, just like many other teams in the West. And we've stayed connected, and we're within reach. But a lot of games left, a lot of good teams left. And, each one of these types of games like this builds a little bit of the character. And down the stretch, last 7 games, refereeing gets tougher, difficult. There's more intensity. There's more risk from certain teams. Because the playoffs come, it's a different animal. But we got to continue to perform, continue to improve.
Congrats on the win. Just want to ask a little bit about the fight at the end of the first half. Kind of seemed like it was going off the rails, but you talked about the professionalism going back into the second half. Was there anything at halftime that y'all said? Or
no, I think this is the game. It's competitive. These are men, and I don't think Maxi appreciated the shot that Murillo gave him. He's off the field. The ball's off the field, so he wants to take a free shot at our player. Our guys are going to come over there and make something of it. And I think it's exactly what we talk about. If somebody wants to take take a shot at one of our guys, get in there and embrace it. I don't worry about paying fines for that stuff. I mean, our team has character. They're brothers, and when you go to battle, you're right there for one another. It helps us. That stuff fuels us, and I think it's certainly added to a little bit of our angst and tension to get after them.
And then just on Rigoni, how's his development coming? Might we see him in the next week here?
Yeah, he'll be available coming this week. He was able to get 2 good workouts in yesterday and today. I mean, he hadn't played in 5 weeks with training or the level of a game. So important that we got him introduced in a good way. He had some separate work today, which I think is important for him, getting some volume. He'll get a rest tomorrow, and then he'll be back in and hopefully build into some minutes against Portland and at the end of the week.
Yeah, congrats on the win, Coach.
Thank you.
Just kind of speaking about Maxi, I mean, obviously he had the 2 goals, but I actually thought his defensive work rate was just as impressive. Just how crucial is that to his game?
It's extremely crucial. I think I've known Maxi for a long time. I've said this before. I watched him when he was at Newell's, and when we bring him to this league and you see what his contributions have looked like from the moment he's got here, his defensive effort has what separated him, I think, from a lot of forwards. He's a double-digit scorer, and given the right amount of time and the right amount of the right surrounding, and again, his intensity to defend creates issues for the opponent. His intensity, along with Seba's intensity, now creates other problems. And when we turn teams over, he's quick to get to goal. So his defending is always quite strong. But the collective group defending tonight was really on point. And I think that's in the second half we were able to again make things difficult for them, turn turnovers into opportunities, and really grab the lead in a good way.
Jorge?
Hi, Josh. We start the season with a 1,200 to 1 for Austin FC to be champions.
Were you the one that asked that question at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, you remember that, right?
I hope you put some money on it, Jorge.
Right now,
I hope you put some money on it.
I regret not putting $200 on that.
That would have been smart.
Honestly,
that would have been smart.
I wasn't smart. Anyway, so right now at this point, there's nothing more to prove. Before the playoffs, what is the next goal for the team?
To win the next game. I mean, we don't look beyond it. The most important thing is securing a playoff spot, then securing a home playoff game, and then you're in elimination. If you get in the playoffs, it's an elimination type deal, and it's challenging. So we won't look too much further ahead than the next opponent. Wednesday comes a little quicker, and we'll freshen up. It'll be nice to utilize some other guys in the coming games, but we'll see where this group is at, and we'll make the decisions based on that as the game nears. But we don't set too many long-term goals at this point.
Last year it was a tough year. Now we have a very good guest right here on the back. What can you say about the team? I mean, what's the difference between last year and 2 years that you can tell him in front of everybody?
Yeah, I think there's lots of differences. We've come in with an idea and a methodology and certainly a philosophy about how we want to play, and we stuck to that last year. We struggled in certain phases of the season. Obviously, injuries and being on the road is difficult. Not playing a home game for your first night are all challenges, and that's built in a bit of maturity and a little bit of scarring from some of our guys that are still here. And then we went out. We have the resources from ownership who allow us to continue to bring in high-profile players, and we also got players from inside the league, some character, some quality. And we made some tweaks, about how we want to play. But, I think other than that, the character of this group, the willingness to come work each and every day, the ability to bring the best out of one another is why this group is so strong. And we saw lots of quality last year. I mean, it was easy to write about the negative and the disappointment, and you guys did a great job of that. But we had to keep powering through it. And, we're in a better space now because of it. We've dealt with it, and we got to continue to move forward. It's a good group, but we got 7 games left, and we'll keep pushing and try to get better.
Go ahead, Colby.
I think Nick Lima's quietly had a really good year.
He
I
has.
thought tonight he was exceptional. Just
Yeah.
what did you see out of him tonight?
Exactly that. Him and Johnny were both exceptional. You're going against Bale. You're going against Vela. Their careers, their quality is quite clear. I mean, we're all aware of it. But each week they're going against difficult players, wingers, guys that can get you downhill, guys that are looking behind the line, guys that are 1v1. So doing the prep work in advance. The coach is doing a good job demonstrating what your direct opponent looks like, and then their realization and their commitment to now making it difficult on the defensive side. And then offensively, I'd say the same thing. Their willingness to move up the field, their understanding of what the games need, how we can switch the point of attack. Johnny, I don't know how many times he dribbled up the field, just powering through the winger, forcing them to run, and then just having calm and quality and good decisions in the final third. So Nick's done a great job. He's a warrior, and so is Johnny. And we're going to need to continue that going forward.
Any other questions for Josh? Phil, go ahead.
Real quick, only 6 points out from the Supporter Shield right now. Is that gettable? Is that a goal?
Week by week, we got 3 points available on Wednesday. So, this is LAFC's. I think it's the first time they've lost 2 in a row this year. So, we'll try to grab points when we can, but we can't concern ourselves too much with all the other teams. We win. We'll see what the board looks like come the end of the year.
Any other questions for Josh? Tonight's crowd of 20,738 is the 30th consecutive sellout at Q2 Stadium, extending the league's longest active sellout streak. You can follow Emily Alvarado and